Good evening, ladies and gentlemen and comrades. I am pleased and honored to introduce my very good friend and the leading world-known filmmaker, Agnieszka Holland. She, alongside with Andrzej Wajda and Krzysztof Kieślowski, whom you all know, Agnieszka Holland, had been one of the leaders of so-called cinema of moral anxiety in 70s. My favorite movie, and if anyone hasn't seen this one yet, I really suggest you to see, is Woman Alone, with a very universal meaning, differently than many of the movies from the cinema of moral anxiety. She then went abroad and made great movies like Europe, Europe, or Angry Harvest, for which she has been several times nominated for an Oscar. She even once, 2 years ago, has been nominated by, which never happens, by National Academy, not of Poland, but of Czech Republic, for Burning Bush, the movie that Czechs needed Polish romantic to describe the story of Jan Palach, the student who committed suicide in 1968 during the Prague Spring, as you all know. It seems to me that Agnieszka particularly deserves this award, or this award deserves to go into Agnieszka's hands, because you don't have too many filmmakers that are so successful on both sides of Atlantic Ocean. And Agnieszka in 70s did a big success in Poland, then in continental cinema, very different than American Hollywood cinema. And then finally, she's very, very successful director in America, European fanatics of House of Cards, and I know that most of you know what I'm talking about. For me personally, Agnieszka is important because in one of the movies which belongs to the Holocaust cinema, she decided to take as the main character someone who doesn't belong to intelligentsia or higher class. I'm talking about In Darkness, very successful movie, which was like a revolution in consciousness in Poland 2 years ago. She decided to talk about very similar to as we are here in Poland now today, not only before, just regular men, or like Jacek Kuroń would say, the men of everyday life, and describe the story of Holocaust, which was more often the story of regular people, not only the story of people like Spielmann or Schindler. So she actually is a director who is dealing with the very, very significant and very hard moral issues, but she does it without moralizing. One of the leading Polish intellectuals, Maria Janion, used to say that Agnieszka is one of the not too many artists Polish artists that it's not sentimentalist, which I think is a very, very good description of what Agnieszka does. Agnieszka is a real artist, which for me means that she doesn't only deal with the art, but takes a certain responsibility for this world. And I understand that this is a significant reason why this award goes to her. Exactly. She plays a role of, let me put it this way, one member's party in Poland. And whenever she says something, even Prime Minister must react. And Radek Sikorski will confirm my words. I'm referring to the situation when she was blaming Donald Tusk, and Donald Tusk next day organized conference and said, "I'm sorry." So ladies and gentlemen, Freedom Awards will go this year to Agnieszka Holland.
Sławek. Thank you for this award. The freedom has special meaning for me. I was born and raised in communist Poland and spent a big part of my life there. Then during 10 years I was political immigrant in so-called free world, in France, in US. And then I didn't expect it when I was living in communist Poland. I've seen my country becoming free, democratic, and independent. And this period when I was living and observing democratic Poland was very instructive for myself and very instructive of my understanding of freedom. I understood that I'm coming from the nation which is very good in fighting for freedom, but which is less good in living the freedom. And then I was looking around and I was realizing that on this planet, probably the most of the people have the problem with living the freedom, and when having this opportunity, they are wandering over the earth looking for the cage. Then I understood that the notion and meaning of freedom is not same for everybody, and that it will be naive and pretentious to believe so. And I love Americans, but I think that that is the mistake they are doing too often, to believe that the freedom means the same for everybody and every place. But for me personally, the freedom of speech, the freedom of expression, as for a citizen, person, and artist, is more important than the wealth, the recognition of the success. And the freedom of being myself is more important than my physical freedom even. And these values I'm sharing with some people, and some of them are in this room. And in the first place, I would like to share this award with my colleague, filmmaker, Ukrainian filmmaker, Oleg Sentsov. Oleg is documentary young filmmaker, very talented one. He was active during Maidan in Kiev. Then he came back after Maidan to his native Crimea and was protesting against Russian annexion of his land. Then he was kidnapped in his home, transferred to the Moscow prison in Lefortovo, tortured, and falsely accused of the terrorist acts. He spent in this prison over the year without the trial, denying all the accusations. And for myself and for my European colleagues, European filmmakers, for European Film Academy I am leading, his example, his courage and determination reminds us what the most basic meaning of freedom is. So today is many Ukrainian people who've been on this stage. I would like to remind you also this one, because I'm a filmmaker and he's a filmmaker. We are the brother and sister. Thank you.